complete listing of our services and to learn more, visit sanjuanhealthpartners.com or call 505-609-6300. San Juan Health Partners Urology, a division of San Juan Regional Medical Center. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Tuesday morning, March 26th. Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Michlin. Thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM, the information and cultural beacon of the Four Corners, broadcasting from San Juan College. Special good morning to our viewers who are watching us live from our visual radio studio on the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel. Welcome aboard, everyone. Coming up in just a moment, my guest this morning from Bloomfield Schools, Russell Flores, is here. He is the IT director for Bloomfield Schools. We'll be talking a lot about technology and education and how that all fits together. So stay tuned for that in just a moment here on KSJE. Later on this hour, we'll do what we do on Tuesdays, which is check in with the Farmington Regional Animal Shelter, and we'll be showing you some of the pets available for adoption this week. That is coming up this morning at 8:55. Then, of course, we hope you'll stay tuned after the news at 9 o'clock for Roving with the Arts. Mick Hess is here. He is playing more Haydn symphonies for us, and, of course, he's been playing them in order from the very beginning. Today, it is Haydn Symphony number 102. He wrote a lot of them. It's number 102 coming up today on Roving with the Arts on KSJE. Don't forget, of course, to connect with us on social media. You can watch our visual radio programs, as I've mentioned, on the KSJE Facebook page or YouTube channel. We are live this morning on both of those platforms. KSJE on Twitter, of course, and our new Instagram page as well. And you can always find out what we're doing at KSJE by going to our website, ksje.com. That's also where you'll find our regional events calendar. Lots of things that are going on throughout the region, not just San Juan County, but we want to let you know about CyberCon here at San Juan College. That will be tomorrow and Thursday. A great couple of days of events talking about digital security and some of the programs and career opportunities there. Jazz Fest happening this week also here at San Juan College, so don't forget about that as well. Some events there in Telluride at the Sheridan Opera House to let you know about on our calendar as well. And there is the Gun and Knife Show for the San Juan Wildlife Federation out at McGee Park happening this week as well. So just some of the things you'll find when you check out our regional events calendar at ksje.com. Well, let me turn to my guest who is here with me this morning. Russell Flores is here, the Director of IT for Bloomfield Schools, and good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Talking about technology, what about, you got all these shiny things in here, right?
I know, this is really nice.
Kind of cool, huh?
Very cool.
Yeah, so we appreciate you being here because technology does play a role in education, whether it's keeping kids safe and helping teachers and staff communicate to helping students learn in the classroom, right? And you're in charge of all that.
Yes. Yeah, we try to be.
Yeah. Most of the times it works pretty well.
It does, yes. Yeah, we work hard to make sure kids have what they need, staff have what they need, teachers in the classroom.
Right.
It's always a revolving door of equipment. As legacy things go away, new things come into play, and so we're constantly doing new things. And
the big question always is, how do you pay for it, right?
Right. Normally we use either a bond or 2 mil, and of course the 2 mil didn't pass this last vote, so that'll hurt us some, but we're making plans to how to remedy that, and hopefully we can go out for that again in the fall.
Right, yeah. and get the support of residents in the Bloomfield School District.
Correct.
For that, because that does pay for a lot of the stuff that you use, right, and students use.
Correct. That pays for technology and maintenance of the buildings and facilities. So it's a big part of what we do, and of the maintenance and operations side of the house.
Right.
But you know, it was a close vote.
It was very close in Bloomfield. I'm trying to remember, maybe 70 votes,
like 70
I think.
or 71 votes.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
We're just going to try to get the word out, and we know our community supports us very well, so we just we'll go out in the fall again, hopefully.
Okay, very good. But another way I know that you've tried to keep technology affordable is partnering with Google.
Correct.
Right?
So
because they provide things that maybe you wouldn't be able to afford otherwise.
Correct, which is all free for Bloomfield Schools. So we're in our 5th year, I believe, being a Google for Education district. And that gives us our email, all our file storage, lots of free tools for staff, and then all those same free tools for students to use in the classroom.
And that's a great It has to be a great benefit, right? I mean, I know some folks maybe love to hate Google, or they're one of the big tech companies, and folks get a little concerned about that. But
Right.
they do have this separate part of the business that does team up and partner with school districts.
Correct, correct. And ads that you normally see in a regular Gmail account, that kind of stuff isn't in there.
Right.
So it's very focused on education. We use one of the tools called Google Classroom, and it's a communication tool for the teacher and the students in the classroom. We're trying to get better with that, and we have a lot of teachers that are starting to use that.
How many years have you been using Google in the classroom?
This is our 5th year.
Okay. And so you must be pleased with what you're getting.
We are, yeah. For what we were doing in the past, we have more tools now than we used to.
Right.
And the cost is better, obviously. So along with that, we are trying to get our 4th Google Summit back to Bloomfield schools. We've been hosting that. We hosted it for 3 years now, where Google's trainers come in for 2 days, and they have all kinds of sessions. It's really a fun event. We're trying to get that scheduled for the beginning of June.
Okay.
And we haven't confirmed that yet.
And is that just a school event, or is it open to the community?
It's open to anybody who wants to register.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
To learn more about using their tools and
All
their programs, I
tools.
suppose?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Everything that's free that becomes in that suite of products.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for an IT director, it must be working pretty well. I mean, again, you monitor things and see how many complaints you get or non-complaints about things that are working the way it's supposed to, and after 5 years, it's still going well.
Still going well, yes. And part of the reason why for us it goes well is we have Chromebooks. We have a little over 2,000 of them that we use in our district, and they go really well with Google for Education. The student signs into their Chromebook, and then they have everything they need. Tomorrow they can sign into a different one, and they have everything they need. So it works well for learning purposes, and then of course we use those for online testing as well.
And so these are basically a Google product, right? It's a Google small little laptop, right?
Correct. There's different brands, but they're branded as Google products,
right?
Basically.
But run on a pretty efficient operating system and things along that line.
Correct.
Right.
They don't get
battery life is really good.
Right. They don't get viruses. Their startup time is within seconds. Very low maintenance. We have to buy a license per each one, so we can manage those through what's called a console. Mm-hmm. But it makes it easier for our team to manage those since we have so many.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you have about 2,000 for the district.
Correct. Around 2,200.
And so staff uses them and students, or just students?
Just students.
Just students for those. And so if I'm a student, which I'm not, and haven't been in a number of years, but I could go into a class, my math class, and log into this Chromebook and see my work, and then if I needed to go to like history class, I could log into a different Chromebook and still see my same settings and work and all that. That's what they're designed to do.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
And they work pretty well.
Right.
Students
and they
like
have
them?
all the tools, so they have, it's very similar to Microsoft Office.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the doc program, it's called Sheets for Excel.
Right.
Calendaring, email. So they have a lot of productivity type tools that the students learn to use, and the concepts and learning menus and things like that, they're kind of the same as Office. So if they open Office, they'll be able to navigate around pretty good. So,
sure.
Yeah.
What's the grade level we're talking about that use these things? Is it mostly in the high school, or does it go into the middle schools too?
No, and we have them all the way to our pre-K school.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even those young kids are working on a computer.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And these are, I would think, important skills for even someone in kindergarten or younger grades to learn from an early age, because they're going to be dealing with a mouse and keyboard for the next 80 years.
Correct, right. And most of them have the touchpad mouse,
right,
which is a little bit difficult for the younger kids to get, but they can get regular mouses to attach to that.
Sure.
But it's really neat to see the kids, they do a lot of short cycle assessment stuff using these devices. Mm-hmm. And then they have like learning games that they do at the younger levels.
Right.
Reading and math type activities. And then, obviously, as they get older, they start doing some other stuff with them. So,
and I can hear the parents who are watching us and listening to us this morning, Russell, saying, "Back in my day, we didn't have these learning games on a computer.
Right.
We would just have a pen and paper, or maybe a pencil, number 2 pencil for that matter."
Right.
But this is really a new way that kids are learning today, is it not? With
Correct.
You know, I mean, we're not the MTV generation anymore, but they still have access to video games and a lot of visual stimulation, which I would assume these things really help with.
Yes, they do, and we try to filter out as best we can the stuff that's non-productive and that they shouldn't be doing. But it is a great learning tool. You know, they're just tools, and when used appropriately, they work really well. Kids engage, and when kids engage, they're learning. So
yeah. And that's what the studies have shown. I imagine a lot of this is backed up by data.
Correct.
And I know Dr. Mizell could probably go into hours with me about the data and what it shows for kids learning with computers and computer-assisted teaching and learning.
Right. And our role in IT has changed quite a bit over the years. I mean, we used to focus a lot on the end devices, so laptops and Chromebooks, and taking care of those. And a lot of those have become easier to manage. So our focus has kind of shifted to making sure the infrastructure is in place to manage however many devices come onto the network at any given time.
Right.
So we spend a lot of time and energy making sure the infrastructure is good in terms of switches and routers, the internet connectivity we have, filtering, all the stuff for safety purposes, and we kind of focus on that a little bit more now that any device can be changed in and out, and we can have all kinds of different ones on the network at a time.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. My guest, Russell Flores, is here. He is the IT director for the Bloomfield School District, and as we talk about having 2,200 Chromebooks that are running on your network or any type of infrastructure, that is a full-time job of managing all those devices, right? That you're making sure, and again, as you mentioned, to make sure those students aren't getting into places where they're not supposed to be getting with those school computers.
Correct. Right. Yeah.
That seems like a full-time job.
It's a lot. Yeah. We have a great staff we've been there for a while together, and we feed off each other well, and constantly learning new things and trying new things, testing stuff out. We try to be as responsive as we can every day. But it's fun, and it keeps us busy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And having all those machines on a network at the same time, or using the Wi-Fi, or and being able to access online tools and things like that, that is another test of your infrastructure, is it not?
Correct. Yes. So we've spent a lot of energy and resources over the last few years to getting a better infrastructure in place. We have 3 gig to our schools now, and that's a big internet pipe for us.
Right.
It kind of equates to about 1 meg per student, which is kind of the national standard of where they want us to be. So we're right there with that. And then, of course, all the devices that filter that down to the school level into the classroom. So
big tubes for the internet at Bloomfield Schools.
That's right. Big freeways.
There you go. Yeah. They're not going to get clogged anytime soon.
Hopefully not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. That's true. And again, you talked about using these things, these computers for assessments, for testing. And so again, you want to make sure everything's running and working properly. If a student is taking a test, an important measure of what they've learned.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't want that test to be interrupted. Or have any kind of network infrastructure issue during those times, especially during those times. So we try to test and be prepared as best as we can. Park is kind of going away with the new political scene in New Mexico, so whatever is developed, I'm sure it'll be similar to that, where we can continue to use these devices for testing.
Because the park was all online, was it not?
Correct, and whatever is replaced will be online.
Right.
And I think they kind of know what's coming already, so we'll just be prepared for that come April.
Sure, but ready to go. And as you said, you've got 2,200 of these things that the students can use.
Right. And then we have other labs that we can utilize as well, PC labs.
Right.
We've slowly tried to phase those out over time, since we've been getting so many of the Chromebooks that are more mobile. They're less expensive, and they work just as well.
Sure. Yeah. Is that your ultimate goal, is to have Chromebooks for each student maybe eventually?
Yes. Yeah, we'd love to have a Chromebook cart of 25 to 30 in each classroom, and virtually eliminate labs and let the schools use those spaces for something else.
Got you.
But it would be nice to have throughout a child's day in the school, they're ready and available to use whenever they need.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so we've talked a little bit about how the students can use these things, but what about your teachers? I imagine it's a tool for them as well, and when every student in their class has access to this technology, the excuse of, well, I didn't have access to the computer doesn't doesn't fly in the classroom anymore.
Sure. And we're not one-to-one yet, so we do still have times where teachers don't have access to that kind of stuff. But we're getting better every year. But it is a great tool for them to utilize for their students. Primarily, like we said before, it engages that student. So if it's used in the appropriate manner, it could really help their learning day.
Sure.
But teachers have laptops, PCs.
Right.
We use Dells.
Mhm.
So, their machine's a little bit more robust. But they certainly know about the Chromebooks and how to use them and what features they have for kids.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they can assign a project or something that can be completed using these Chromebooks or the technology, or students can work together or what have you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And all have this access to the same type of machine.
Correct. And then they use the Google suite of products to kind of collaborate and bring that kind of stuff together.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. So
Right.
very exciting. We talk about safety. That's another thing I wanted to ask you a little bit about, and how your department can help with that on all campuses in Bloomfield.
Sure. So we've, from the IT point of view, we've kind of upgraded some of our door access control systems for the card readers that everybody has to wear.
Right. To know who's coming in and coming out.
Correct. And we've installed quite a few more of those in various schools, particularly the high school. The high school now has a fence around with gates, and each one of those gates has a access control system. So it allows people that have access to come and go freely, and then obviously it's closed off.
Right.
We've upgraded cameras, so we have quite a few more cameras in the district, around 300 cameras total. Again, most of those are at the high school, just primarily because of the size of that campus.
And that is security type cameras and video surveillance and things like that, and you can
Correct.
You can review some of that footage, I suppose, if there's a problem.
Yes, we can go back and kind of see what happened and use that for documentation purposes, or teaching moments, or whatever the case may be. Part of that is we have a partnership with San Juan County, so they can access these cameras, all of our cameras, whenever there is an emergency, and that's something that's new that we're proud to be able to partner with.
A real-time surveillance, I suppose, to
Correct.
see if there's a report of something fishy going on. They can
Right,
they can
and
tune in.
Fortunately, we haven't had anything ourselves yet,
Good.
but that availability is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. And it's amazing how much your job probably has expanded with some of this technology. We talk about door locks. I imagine you probably didn't think you'd be in the door lock business,
Right.
When you got into this line of work. And now
Right.
here you are talking about door locks and surveillance cameras and things like that.
Right, and it's the behind the scenes work because of that keeps us busy. I mean, most of our critical systems that we have, and any district really now, it runs on the network. So all
Right.
these access controls are run on the network. The cameras are running on the network. Obviously, everything that we've been talking about already versus for the classroom is on the network. Even things like our heating and cooling communicates via our network.
Right.
So that infrastructure, and that's kind of what we're talking about earlier. We spend so much time on our network and our infrastructure and making sure things are good that because we really can't afford for that to be down.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's how those internet tubes get filled with stuff.
That's right. That's right.
I keep going back to that silly analogy.
It works.
Yeah. But that's why you need that big pipeline, right?
Right.
To handle all that traffic that's going back and forth, whether it's talking door locks or kids, students, Chromebooks in the classroom.
Correct.
They're all using that same network.
Correct. And the 3 gig is the main internet pipe to come into the district. And then, of course, some of that, or a lot of that traffic that we're talking about now,
Localized, isn't it?
Localized on the WAN. So, and we have one more school we're trying to connect via fiber, our Blanco Elementary School, and hopefully that'll be done soon, but that project is ongoing. So we have fiber that connects all of our schools except Blanco, which will be soon.
Right.
But in doing that internet internal pipe is really big. So
Sure.
we don't have any traffic latency issues as more things come on the network.
Right. But you bring up a great point about having a location in Blanco where maybe the infrastructure isn't quite as robust as it would be in the city of Bloomfield.
Right, which right now, as soon as the fiber connection is there, it'll be just like the school is in town. Because once you get inside, their computer lab is really, really good. They have a lot of Chromebooks there. So once that fiber connection is there, right now it's a radio wave connection that we use.
Right.
So we go from tower to tower to tower to get out there. So that won't be needed here pretty soon. So once that's in place, it'll be just like it's right there in town.
Sure.
Yeah.
And fiber offers a lot of growth potential, does it not? I mean, that pipe is
Absolutely.
huge, right?
Yes.
So
it's really limitless.
For future growth, I mean, it will really accommodate whatever you can throw at it.
Correct. And all we really have to worry about is the end connectivity appliances and upgrading that, but the actual line itself is, it'll be good for a long time.
Very exciting. Yeah. All right, very good. Let's take a short break. I know you've got some projects you want to talk about too.
Sure.
That are coming in the future.
Yeah.
So when we come back, more with my guest, Russell Flores from Bloomfield Schools, right here on KSJE. The time right now, everybody, is coming up on 8:30.
You're supposed to tip your house cleaner, right?